Super Tuesday has come and gone, and the results are pretty much what we all expected. It's looking like it'll be a 2020 rematch. President Joe Biden coming out on top for the Democrats.
And former President Donald Trump winning big on the Republican side. Taking a look at the primary results in Minnesota, Trump winning easily with almost 70%. Haley picking up 29% of the vote along with a dozen delegates. But these results were not enough for Haley.
The former South Carolina governor and UN ambassador dropping out of the race this morning.
As important, while we stand strong for the cause of freedom, we must bind together as Americans. We must turn away from the darkness of hatred and division.
Haley did not endorse Donald Trump during her speech, instead saying he needs to earn her more moderate voters. The other Republican candidates who dropped out have endorsed Donald Trump.
For the Democrats, Biden wins about 70% of the vote, but nearly 20% voted for uncommitted. A protest vote against Biden and his handling of the Israel-Hamas war and dissatisfaction with the options. Congressman Dean Phillips lost his home state.
You can see just that 8% and that loss forcing Phillips to suspend his campaign. So he is now endorsing President Biden. The congressman posting on X saying Americans were demanding an alternative, but, quote, the alternative is not me. Phillips going on to say it's clear President Biden is, quote, our candidate and our opportunity to demonstrate what country America intends to be. Well, some voters, though, sent a very clear message to President Biden that they are not happy.
Like we mentioned, nearly 20% voting uncommitted during Tuesday's primary. But who will they vote for when it really comes down to it in November?
Fox 9's Rob Olson joining us now. So, Rob, you put that question to someone who did vote uncommitted.
Yeah, and I talked to somebody yesterday who voted uncommitted too, that expressed a general dissatisfaction, but many of these uncommitted votes were simply a protest vote. It's important to note that all of them came on the Democratic ballot because, you know, when you vote Republican or Democrat. All of these were on the Democratic side. None were on the Republican side. So the question is, do those voters just do this now, or does any of this carry over into the fall?
I voted uncommitted so I could send a message to President Biden that there's lots of us who don't agree with his Gaza policy.
Linnell Michelson was one of the 45,913 voters in Minnesota who selected uncommitted on their Democratic primary ballot, a protest vote against President Biden's support of Israel and to pressure Biden to call for a ceasefire in Gaza.
But we hope we get his attention.
But Linnell says she's very much committed to Biden come November.
I think we know the general election is going to be really close, but for people like me, I'm a diehard Democrat, and I voted in the primary knowing full well that if President Biden is the nominee, I'll be voting for him without hesitation in November.
The uncommitted campaign in Minnesota began about a week before the primary, following a similar effort in Michigan targeting dissatisfied Democrats.
But it's unlikely that they would turn around and vote for Donald Trump.
Absolutely. So the real question is, will these uncommitted voters show up and vote for Biden in November or not?
Political scientist Catherine Pearson says most of these protest votes are just about sending that message, knowing that Biden has the nomination locked up. But the question is how many remain upset enough to sit out the general election.
The question is, will turnout be lower in 2024, and will it be disproportionately lower for one side or the other? And that could make all the difference.
Linnell, though, says a lot of uncommitted voters probably feel like she does. She doesn't want Trump to win, just wants Biden's attention.
I'm amazed by it. I'm just amazed by it. I think it means that there's lots of people who are quite uncomfortable with our Gaza policy.
So it remains to be seen here exactly how that message is responded to from all these uncommitted voters, what the campaign then does to try to make sure that they stay then committed in the fall. And then, of course, there's the Nikki Haley voters out there. Are they voters who will go ahead and vote for Donald Trump? Or are they sort of the never-Trumpers that maybe could be persuaded to come to the other side? Or maybe they sit home, too. So, again, a lot of voters out there with a lot of question marks on them about what happens between now and this fall. Live in Minneapolis, Rob Olson, Fox 9.
Rob, thank you.